In today's video, we're going to be talking about this Leo full moon that is coming up on February 1st. My hair is giving Leo. Yeah? What do you guys think? Comment. Hi, welcome. I'm Izzy. I go by Astremia here, and some of you have found me from my TikTok, 8th House Mercury, which I have now created a YouTube channel and am posting those videos there as well, because I do know some of you aren't excited about TikTok Switch, and I hear you. So you can follow that down below. And also a couple things listed down below are all of my links. So if you're looking to work with me, definitely take a peek down below. In this video today, we're going to be talking about this full moon, understanding the tarot card rulership, the decan, what's really going down underneath the surface of this full moon, how it's relating to the next year and a half. Okay, important piece that we'll be talking about. And then I will be diving into your rising signs and how it's affecting you personally. But I always like to preface before that, guys, please make sure you listen to the full video. And this is not me just plugging myself. I do give really detailed explanations of what this means and then where it's falling for you. So definitely listen to the rest. And if you guys are enjoying my content and like what I do and want to support me, the best way you guys can do that is by liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing this with your friends too. If you think they'll like this content, it just pushes it out to other people who might enjoy it as well. So thank you. Bit of housekeeping, because I have some things that I'm really excited for. You guys are going to be the first people to know about my eclipse portal between the nodes sort of container that I'm hosting. I am gathering people that really want to sit together for the 2 weeks between the eclipses, which is February 17th to March 3rd, in a closed container where we'll have an opening ceremony, closing ceremony. We'll have prompts each day to guide you through what's happening, what's moving. Between that 2-week period, there's a lot of interesting astrology that's coming up. So you can read all about it. It's going to be linked down below if that's something that feels exciting for you and you feel called to be held in that space. With Between the Nodes, there's a early bird pricing. So if you're interested, definitely sign up, because that's going to be shifting in a couple weeks. Okay. And additionally, I am hosting a Saturn masterclass. So if you've been wanting to understand Saturn more deeply and how to work with Saturn, sign up. There's limited spots available. And last but not least, if you have yet to join my community, it's called the House of Celestial Magic. We have an active book club. We just voted on a new book. We have a writers guild where we're all writing, and a sweet little movie club hosted by Aaliyah, getting into the magic of movies. So if you're interested in those things, or you want to bring some of your gifts to the space and host things, come hang out. All right. I'd love to see you guys there. Okay. This full moon, guys, is interesting. And I'm going to get a little nerdy in this video because it's interesting. All right. I've been sitting with this, and if you see me glancing off to the side, I'm just looking at my other monitor. I'm looking at the chart, which I will be putting up to the side here and there so you guys can see it as well. We have Pluto, Mars, the sun, obviously, and Venus and Mercury all in Aquarius right now. And this full moon is opposing all of this. That means opposite of all of this, because the full moon is in Leo, which is the sister sign of Aquarius. And full moons are always when the sun and the moon are opposing each other. So this is the peak illumination of this Leo energy. And to break down Leo, just at a broad sense, Leo is the campfire. I always think of people wanting to gather around the light and beauty of Leo and be embraced by its warmth and be around other people that want to revel in this beautiful energy. So I also think about like theater and like watching somebody in the spotlight, and Leo just being that individual and that energetic tone that wants to be seen for their light. It's ruled by the sun, Leo is. And so there's some interesting dynamics happening here. The reason I say that this Leo full moon is interesting, because at a surface level, most astrologers might say it's a time for celebration. It's a time to be seen. It's a time to be witnessed in all of your power and your glory and celebrate. But there's more to this full moon than that. With this oppositional energy to all of these planets in Aquarius, it feels very intense. And this, I want to really bring this to your attention as well, sweet friends. Our lunar nodes, the North Node and the South Node, are going to be switching signs come July 2026. And so this full moon is a little bit of a precursor to the next 1.5 year cycle. So I want to invite you guys to really witness what comes up, journal, reflect on what comes up during this full moon for you personally, because it's probably going to be the start of an unraveling that is going to take place the next 1.5 years. So to get a little bit deeper, this oppositional energy is sort of feeling like being put on stage. The image that comes up with this full moon is, it's almost as though the moon is this inner child, this character of ourselves that is kind of being put on blast a little bit. It's almost like all the adults in the room, like you did something and everybody's looking at you, is sort of the energy. Now, how you respond to that is up to you. And we're going to get into some of those details because we have Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Pluto, all in Aquarius, kind of looking at this Leo energy like, what are you going to do? What's going to happen? What's going to come through with this fiery energy? And it feels a little intense and a little standoffish, where there's probably parts that are going to come up where it's like parts of yourself that are going to be seen that is going to challenge you to change your expression. The word that kept coming up for this full moon is an ego death. Because all of these planets in Aquarius are looking at this Leo energy. And for preface, why I brought in the nodes is the South Node's going to be switching into Leo, which is this version of self, this Leo energy within whatever space in your natal chart it is going to be released for the greater mission of society. And that's that Aquarian energy. So you're getting a front row seat to a part of your ego that you're still clinging to that is asking to be dissolved, ultimately, that is asking to be released, where you no longer identify with that piece. For some of you, you might be really tightly clinging to this part of your identity that is about to change, is going to be changing. So interesting energy, right? Let's go a little bit deeper. This full moon is ruled by Jupiter. It's in the second decan, which is ruled by Jupiter. And when we look, Jupiter's in Cancer, retrograde. So there's a very interesting dynamic happening here because Jupiter retrograde right now in Cancer is having us reevaluate our emotional growth, our foundational pieces, your inner voice and intuition, like that gut instinct. And so you've been going through this process, and especially whatever house that Jupiter is in for you, this Cancerian house, it's going to be the house right before this Leo house for you guys. So it's going to be kind of this interesting pair that comes up here. It's really highlighting this area of life where you're restructuring things, where it's almost as though your egoic expression can't fully show up because this area of life is under construction and it no longer holds this part of your ego. Let's go a little deeper. This full moon is ruled by the Six of Wands, which we're going to put that tarot card up to the side here. This is a man who's sitting on a horse, and this card is usually about like victory and winning and like achieving your goals and being seen. It's literally sitting on your high horse, but you can see people are celebrating, and there's sort of this energy of like community building and recognition for your work. And it's gonna feel weird because there's this oppositional energy of this Aquarian energy that's really questioning, did you earn that? Is that yours? Like there's this polarity piece with the Aquarius energy, which Aquarius is all about the whole of humanity. And Leo is that sign of self-recognition and self-celebration, of being seen for what you've done by others. And Aquarius would rather take a step back and share that success with everybody around them, like understanding how every piece fills in. So there's going to be this sort of tension on a certain level of like questioning your light and your worth and your progress and your ambition, as well as your self-confidence, right? And so this full moon really feels like a dualistic edge. On one hand, a part of you is like being asked to like dissolve, but then on the other hand, there's a part of you that has put in a lot of work to be successful and be seen in certain spaces. And this Jupiter retrograde in Cancer is kind of that gateway piece that's really showing you like the areas that you've been excavating and working on and nurturing yourself for the last little bit of time since this has been retrograde. And it's sort of this piece that isn't quite yet finished and isn't quite yet complete. But this Leo full moon is really asking you to kind of stand on an incomplete foundation, and that you're in the process. It kind of feels like you're in the process of creating something, and being seen in that creation process is deeply vulnerable. And so it's really testing your ability to hold the light while you're in the process. Again, this sort of energy of like everybody in the room looking at you and like questioning you and scrutinizing you. It's really intense. An image just came to my mind of like somebody in like a laboratory, that it's like taking a jester and then you put them in the laboratory and they're like, ta-da! And everybody there's like, why are you here? And it's like, well, I just wanted to bring joy and bring my talents because it's important to enjoy life and to be seen and celebrated. And so it's sort of this feeling of doing it no matter how other people respond. Okay? Very, very interesting full moon. Again, I keep getting like stumped with this energy because on one hand, it's like celebrating your wins. And on the other, like it's almost as though society and the collective are asking for you to share your success with everybody else. And so there's that Leo energy of like, but I earned this myself and that I want to be celebrated. And then there's that Aquarian part that's like, but I understand the deeper reason for my light being seen and that it is affecting people. And so it's like, can you find that equilibrium between this Aquarian energy and this Leo energy, which is understanding that when your light is shining authentically, you will make an impact on the collective. And so it's really testing your ability to stay in that frequency and that tone. And it's going to get testy. It's going to get emotional, and it's going to be raw and vulnerable and not fully complete yet. And it's, can you hold that frequency of not being fully finished or complete in your creations and still be seen, and hold the tension of people wanting what you've done. Okay? Whew. Big energy, guys. Big energy. I would love to hear how that's landing for you guys. Comment your rising sign down below. And definitely liking, subscribing if you're really resonating with this energy. It's the best way to support me in the work that I'm doing. Let's go ahead and jump into the rising signs and kind of dive deeper into what area of life this is happening for you based off your rising sign. And always, before jumping ahead, some of you, depending on which house system you use, whether it's Placidus or whole sign or whichever one you choose to subscribe to, just definitely look at the 13th degree of Leo. That's where this is landing. So you might have split houses. So take a peek, learn the astrology. All right. Aries risings, this is landing in your 5th house. As always, you have the natural chart, so this energy is amplified for you. This is really highlighting your creativity and your play and your pleasure, and sort of allowing that to be okay, and allowing yourself to have that despite the collective call for you to share all of that. Okay. Jupiter is retrograde in your fourth house of home and family, and Jupiter is retrograde in your fourth house of foundation, home, families, and roots. And you've been really reevaluating what that space means for you. And so even though that part of your life is under construction and under reevaluation, joy is still allowed, and you're allowed to still play. And this full moon is going to be illuminating where there may still be guilt around choosing your joy despite not having home and family fully fleshed out. All right, for my Taurus risings, this is happening in your fourth house of roots, foundation, home. This is really showing you where home has been a very interesting space. I'm really feeling into this energy where it's like, this has been a hot topic for a lot of you guys of like, what does home mean? And now you're really seeing like, what role do you play in the home? How do you add to the home? And it almost feels like this hearth. I'm thinking of the Greek goddess. It's what's her name? I'm thinking of Hestia, but I don't think it's Hestia. Yeah, it is. Oh my gosh. Yay. The goddess of the hearth. I had to look it up, guys. Trust your intuition. It's the sacred fire, and where it's like, where are you fanning that flame too hard and like becoming the like totem for your family while there's other parts of your life that are under construction, because Jupiter is retrograde in your third house and your communication hasn't fully reflected. You're really understanding like how to communicate and like your language, and that piece is really creating tension between how you show up in the home, because if you can't fully use your voice and share your truth and your power in your home, there's no foundation there. And it seems like you're like holding that flame for the home for yourself, or what home means for you. And there's this deeper reflection that's happening here. And this full moon's going to kind of show you where like you're being stretched too thin, and can you hold that frequency? Okay. For my Gemini risings, this is landing in your third house. Yeah. I had to look. I'm like, is it? Astrology's funny. This is your realm of communication and your voice. Like, you're ruled by Mercury. So this like energy is amplified, it feels like, for you, where it's like you're kind of being put on blast of like your communication and your ability to like be seen in your voice. And your voice is like really powerful right now. And it's, can you hold that frequency and tone when it relates to your body? And I bring in your body because Jupiter's retrograde in your second house. And that's pulling in this sort of edge of like, if your body is not feeling good, you can't speak authentically. And that's coming through where like your emotional body really fuels your ability to communicate. And so there's this tug of war of like, can I say what I mean while my inner body is under construction, is being reevaluated? Can I share my truth and my voice and my tone while still being in the process of building security? And it feels like financial security for you too, where it's like, can I say this thing when I don't know if I have it yet, or ask for this thing when there's a lot of like stability chaos that's coming in for you guys here, and being able to speak authentically about that. Okay. All right, for my Cancer risings, this full moon is happening in your second house of body, money, resources, finances, your tangible reality. You're getting a close look of like, how do you relate to your body? How do you relate to the things around you? And it feels like this illumination of this is very interesting, where you've been resisting letting go of certain pleasures, of certain comforts in your day-to-day life for like your health, for like your resources. You've been blocking your own money is what's kind of coming through, or like your abundance to come through. Money is just the easiest way to frame abundance. Like it feels like it's been blocked because you're so comfortable in a certain routine, in a certain like way of relating to your body, your food, your money. It's like, but can you like look at it different and kind of challenge that grip? That Leo Taurus combination of the second house and this Leo full moon is very like mine. It's giving dragon on top of their gold, but there's more gold outside if the dragon just left, right? And Jupiter's retrograde in your first house on your identity. Your identity's under construction right now. So there's that edge of like, can you shift things up while you're in the process of trying to figure out who the fuck you are? It's intense energy. So have some grace and try something new. For my Leo risings, this is happening in your first house of identity. You're just on blast right now. Who you are, your identity, how you perceive the world is highlighted right now. And it's lots of oppositional energy with your seventh house, that Aquarian energy. There's that polarity that's coming up with all of that of relationships and like who you are in relationships. And so you're really seeing where an old identity of yours is dying. You are literally going through an ego death, my love. And I bring that in because Jupiter's retrograde in your 12th house of unconscious energy. Your unconscious is being rewired, and you're seeing parts of your subconscious, unconscious mind that have been calling for your attention. So while all of that is happening in the background, you're seeing, like, it's almost like you have no idea what's going on, my love. I love you guys so much. This is intense. A lot's changing in the background of your life and like how you process things on an unconscious level. Some unconscious things are becoming conscious, and that can be trauma, stored things that are coming up that you're like, how do I show up every day in my world when there's so much happening in my unconscious mind that I'm unpacking? So there's this tension of like letting go of that old self. If you're not in therapy, I'm going to recommend it for you guys, or having somebody that you talk to through this process as like you're shedding the old and welcoming in the new. Okay. I love you guys. Virgo risings, this full moon is illuminating your 12th house, which is a very interesting texture because the 12th house represents your unconscious mind. This is the part of you that you probably feel very detached from. You can't see this. It's your unconscious mind. So this is being illuminated. You're really seeing how you've clung to how you relate to being seen and your light, because that's that Leo energy. And it's almost like there's always been this idea for you, Virgo risings, where you've kept your light so hidden because you've been afraid that it's going to be stolen. And especially Jupiter is going to be in your 12th house later on this year. So there's this sort of theme that's coming up here of like trying to control how you've been seen and like the parts of you and like your unfinished processes and your unconscious mind and how you operate and where you kind of cling to things. It's being illuminated and you're seeing it, and Jupiter's retrograde in your 11th house, which means you're really evaluating how this affects the community spaces that you're in and how you are really sitting with being seen in these spaces and your gifts. The 12th house is very powerful. Like you've been tapping in and it's being seen by the communities you're in. And it's really like, how do I build the foundations to hold these parts of myself in community, hold community? And there's a lot that's changing here. So with this reassessing of your foundations, specifically around community, that 11th house Jupiter retrograde, it's affecting you and how you relate to your unconscious mind, and the patterns that are ingrained in there are shifting and changing. This full moon might not make sense on an intellectual level, which I know my Virgo risings, you would love for it to. You've got to just let time move this for you. This is going to be a deeper thread that moves through the next year and a half, okay? For my Libra risings, this full moon is illuminating your 11th house of community and connections. You're really seeing the part that you play in the greater picture. right? You've got that flipped chart. So it's a very dualistic energy that's happening for you of like, how can I shine in my communities? But I don't want to take the light from everybody, but I want to be seen because I'm important and I play a piece in this bigger picture. So a lot of mental stimulation happening for you here. Jupiter's retrograde in your 10th house of career and vocation. So it's like, how can I be seen while I'm still building my presence in the world, right? While I'm still trying to understand what it is I want to bring into the world. So there's this tension piece that's coming up for you guys here that is going to be highlighted during this full moon. For my Scorpio risings, this is landing in your 10th house of career. Wow! You're really seeing your gifts and how that is being applied to the world and the people around you, your vocations, what you're desiring. But it kind of feels a little imposter syndrome-y. Like you're like, can I be seen? Like now my emotions are out on the table because I'm showing what I care about and what I really want to do. And this is vulnerable. And you're a Scorpio rising. So there's that tension of like, ooh, can I be seen in this process? With Jupiter retrograde in your 9th house, this is really like the foundational piece of you and what you want to share in the world has to relate to how you're relating to your spirituality. And that's under construction right now. You're really trying to understand like how you do relate to your belief systems and your higher learning. And it kind of is giving this feeling of like, I don't have enough knowledge or experience in this thing that I want to put myself in. So I feel like I'm not fully settled on this horse. I'm thinking of that 6 of Wands card. Like, can I get on this horse? Am I allowed to be seen? And so it's sitting with that sort of incomplete energy in this area. And can you hold that? All right. I love you guys. For my Sagittarius risings, this is landing in your 9th house. Whoa, crazy energy, because this is really bringing in this thread of like your beliefs. And you're ruled by Jupiter, so this energy is kind of very interesting for you guys. You're reevaluating like school for some of you, higher learning, whether you need, oh man, I'm thinking of a very specific Sagittarius rising. I love you if you're watching this. There's an interesting tension with this Leo full moon here because it's illuminating your ability to relate to your spiritual beliefs and your gifts and your higher learning and being a mentor. Yet on the flip side of this Leo full moon is, I don't think I'm ready to like step into that ownership yet of being a mentor or like leading or guiding people. Maybe I should seek out another mentor, or maybe I should like just go back to these things and keep studying and kind of getting caught in that loop. With Jupiter's retrograde in your 8th house, there's a lot of old trauma that is being reassessed in your relationship to your darkness and your shadows. And it's like those parts of you are probably the things that are screaming at you saying, you can't do it, you can't do it. And so it's this process of like reevaluating how you relate to those things and your fears and your traumas and those things that want to hold you back. How can you soothe them to still be in the light and let yourself be moving forward towards teaching others. Okay. Capricorn rising. So this is landing in your 8th house of the taboo, of the occult, of your shadows and the underworld. Guys, this is fun for you guys. By fun, I mean it's intense. You can't hide your shadows anymore. They're being illuminated. And with the moon here, right smack dab in the middle of your 8th house, it is showing you where your fears lie, where your traumas lie, and you can't hide. And it's like, can I be seen in my trauma, like your traumatic responses to things and like your programming is what this feels like. Can I allow myself to be seen? With Jupiter retrograde in your 7th house, this is really pulling in your relationships and like you're reassessing love and relationships. And so this tension that's coming up with this Leo full moon is sort of like, it's illuminating where can you let yourself be seen in partnership while you're not fully healed and let them see your aching, bleeding heart and where you're not finished or complete. And can they hold you in that? Can you trust them too, right? Can you trust to open up enough, right? Even though relationships feel a little rocky now, and how you relate to relationships. Whoosh. Some intense energy, my Capricorn risings. I love you guys. For my Aquarius risings, this is landing in your 7th house of relationships. You're going through a massive identity upgrade, my sweet friends. And it's really bringing in the access of relationships. And you're really like being stretched thin of like, can I love? Can I hold the frequency of love while everything else is under construction? With Jupiter retrograde in your 6th house, this is really bringing in your capacity to hold. Oh, this is so interesting for you guys. I'm feeling this. This is like, the 6th house is your nervous system, your day-to-day routines. How is that supporting how you relate to love? Because that is under construction. And so it's like, can I not be fully complete while I explore relationships or am in relationships? It's sort of that concept that a lot of us think that we need to be fully healed and fully complete and like a full person before we enter love, or in a relationship. It's like, oh, it's supposed to be perfect. That's not real. And you're really seeing that, and your heart is like on full blast right now. And you're really like being seen in the incompleteness of like, I'm learning how to relate to people right now, how to relate to love. And you, Aquarius, you really do love love. Like you have this capacity for like this deeper expression of love that is more higher mind. It's so beautiful. But are you taking care of your nervous system? Are you letting yourself, like you might be compromising yourself. And so you're just really seeing these patterns here. Last but not least, Pisces risings. This is landing in your 6th house of routine, day-to-day patterns, work, service. You are really seeing where being the cheerleader and the torch and the light for everybody in your routines and cheering everybody on, or like just being like going and going and going, is compromising your joy. Okay, because Jupiter is retrograde in your 5th house of joy and pleasure. And there's sort of this feeling of like, why am I doing things that I don't love? And so you're kind of getting, I kind of just saw like, the image that came to mind is like when a kid's like sneaking downstairs to get a treat at night and being caught, where it's like you were up past your bedtime, and it almost seems like this inner authority that you have, like you're sneaking downstairs, you're opening the cabinet to get the cookie, and then you're getting caught. And it's like, why are you restricting yourself from your joy and your pleasure? If your routines, if that's not built into your routines, that's what's coming up for you guys here, is like, how can I have joy and pleasure in my routines? And you're reevaluating that, and that's coming up of like, okay, where do I want to really allow my heart to be seen in the service, in the work that I do? And if it's not there, that is going to be the next year and a half for you guys with this nodal shift, okay? If you made it to the end of my video, liking, subscribing, sharing is the best way that you can support me in the work that I'm doing. Thank you so much for letting me go through this and share my passion with you guys and supporting me. And I would love to invite you guys to my community space if you're looking for extra love and support. It's been so amazing, and it's just been growing exponentially. And I feel so lucky to have such quality people in my space, like genuinely. That's going to have to be a whole sappy love letter on my Substack here in the future, but sending you guys so much love. Bye.